welcome to this week's episode of iAfrica. I know you missed me. I missed you too. This week, I don't have 3 artists. I have 4 because one of them is a jewel presentation. In the very first segment, I have a jewelry designer because hey, we all know we love the bling bling, right? And then also in the second segment, I'm going to have a visual contemporary artist who says, I go by the name ONeal. And in the final segment, I have the jewel presentation who've got an amazing art piece just for you. Stay tuned. This is iAfrica. iAfrica searches for inspiration and innovation in all areas of popular culture, from fashion and design through to architecture, art, food, and travel. The focus is on outstanding individuals doing extraordinary things on the African continent. The show presents creatives in their home nations, visiting renowned designers, musicians, architects who are leaving their mark on the young continent. Join me, your host, Rugare Mdopani, as we take a round trip across Africa and get to be inspired, motivated, and future-oriented. iAfrica, celebrating the African story. Welcome to the very first segment of iAfrica, where this episode I'm going to bring you everything artsy and creative to blow your mind. As always, that's what you can expect from me. This segment, I am joined by a woman who uses her mind, her eyes, and her hands to create amazing fashion pieces, whether it's fashion or jewelry, because she's a jewelry and a fashion accessories designer. I'm joined by the brand owner of Machuma Accessories. Her name is Constance Mupinyuri. Hey, Connie.
Hey, Rugari, how are you?
I'm amazing, and I'm happy to have you on the show, looking the part.
Thank you.
I feel like I need to go change.
No, you know what? We should have planned.
Right?
I should have dressed you.
Next time. Yes. It's a promise, yeah?
Yes. I'll send my invoice, by the way.
ZBC. All right, Connie, let's talk about... Okay, I'm looking at your hands right now. Let's start here. What is the inspiration and what are the pieces that you use?
Okay, so the inspiration here is bone, cowrie, yes, as you can see, and wood.
Okay.
So for me, I have to think outside of the box. We already have people who are doing it and people who have already been doing the accessories and the designs. So it's good to look different and be unique using the little things that we have. So yeah, that's the inspiration. It comes from what we already have, the wood and the bone, the cowrie. That is where all of these is coming from. Yes.
I feel like usually you find that the men are the ones that, kind of go towards this kind of look, but you're bringing it into the feminine energy. And I love this. Why did you actually start thinking, no, let me start working with bone? And how challenging is it to actually work with bone?
It is hard. I wouldn't want to lie. Even when it comes to who is your target client, it becomes tough because people are just saying, ibonzo area. You'd rather curve it into something Chakwisa, Mumbai and stuff. But you'd also see that you can actually make something with the bone in the wood. Even a male can wear it, a female can. And it's difficult in the sense that when you just want to do it alone.
I love that you spoke about the power of collaborations, because I also know that you've been part of some cohorts as well. Can we talk about that and also shine a light on the importance of such cohorts in Zimbabwean art?
Okay. I've been to quite a lot. I started with the AWE, Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, sponsored by the American Embassy. And for me, it made me realize that I have to do my business straight. It's hard being a creative in Zimbabwe. You want to make ends meet. You want to pay the bills. You want to pay your employees. You need fuel. You need everything. You actually want to survive out of it.
You need equipment as well.
Exactly. Service the equipment. Yes. So for our, it really made me wake up and do my business straight. And being compliant, it was one of the hardest because I actually had to beg date. Yes, from 3 years back. But I started my business in 2020, 31 August. So it becomes hard for you to now realize later on in the business that I wasn't compliant. I can't apply for a grant because my finances are a bit shady. So it becomes really, really hard to now want to keep up. So our has been there for me to groom me throughout the way. And then I just recently finished the So Creative courses. I think I did 7. Yeah, 7, 6. Yes. And then the international lectures that we were also doing with Ellen and other members, it was really, really important. And for me, as we are progressing and making various accessories and designs, the most important one for me was the lecture that we did with Aripo about intellectual property. So for me, it was a scare because I have been like scammed at some point where someone would want to take my identity, take the brand's identity. So it becomes hard for you to say, God, I've been working hard for like 5 years, and then someone copies everything that you have been doing, from just a slight change of the name, but everything. So it's really, really important to be part of these cohorts. It's really, really, really important. For me, it made me wake up and actually see that what I've been doing, it's like I'm now going back, starting from scratch. And then I'm just recently going to start the next She Exporter. The email came.
Oh, amazing.
So yes, so it's actually very, very important to be part of these programs because these people, they are giving you all the resources that you need as creatives. Because most of the times the lectures or the courses that are done out there, they are not specifically for creatives. So the most important thing that we are all being given the chance to showcase who we are, even if we are saying, it's a car hustle, it's a small hustle, I'm just doing it at home. You actually need to be serious and take it more serious. So it's really, really important. I would greatly encourage all the creatives to be part of these cohorts and opportunities being brought out by Zimtrade and the British Council, all the other people who are actually bringing on important programs for artists. Out of that, yes.
Earlier, you spoke of how, sometimes someone will say, but bonzoiro, right? How has the uptake been of your designs? And, you know what? Let's end there. And then, because I don't want to hit you with doubles. How has been the uptake by the industry?
The uptake, I believe we do have our target market, our target audience. We do have people who actually appreciate the art and the effort that someone is actually putting in the time, in the value into someone's work. And it's something which is very, very important. And I've seen that there are people who are actually buying and supporting constantly. Yes. So I understand that there are some people who might say, well, no, Rite and Mashavi and stuff. But to be honest, where who you are. Yes. So the moment you accept who you are, it becomes natural even for you to be confident and people to actually say, oh, hi, how are you? What are you wearing? Then people say, my Chuma accessories. Then that's how we are actually upbringing ourselves as creatives. Because the moment when someone wears your brand, someone then will actually acknowledge that, this is actually nice. But to be honest, there are some people who look down on it and say, no, asite, it's not really like nice, or it's not really giving.
It's not bougie.
Yes, it's not bougie enough.
Yeah.
But to be honest, where we are going, you need to wear who you are.
True.
Have at least a sense of belonging through what you wear, through your language and who you are, and just how you bring yourself.
As you heard it yourself, I'm going to be dressed by Constance of Machuma Accessories. Thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you. I definitely appreciate my tabasa.
Isuse vana vakarerwa right here in Zimbabwe, vana vevu. This was Machuma Accessories, bringing in the cowries, the shells, the bone, the beading, everything. Did you catch the mbira earrings? I'm going to be having those next time. Stay tuned. I'm going to be having ONeal, who's a visual, a contemporary artist. And I can't wait to get into that one. For leaving their mark on the young continent. Join me, your host, Rugarem Duhani, as we take a round trip across Africa and get to be inspired, motivated, and future-oriented. Africa, celebrating the African story. Africa searches for inspiration and innovation in all areas of popular culture, from fashion and design through to architecture, art, food, and travel. The focus is on outstanding individuals doing extraordinary things on the African continent. Welcome to the second segment of this episode of Africa. Now I'm indoors. I've come from the great outdoors, and I have this amazing art piece that has me asking so many questions. And this art piece is by ONeal, a visual contemporary artist. Welcome to the show, ONeal.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great, thanks.
I'm good.
ONeal, what exactly is a visual contemporary artist? Because maybe there's somebody out there who's like, wait, this is another fancy term that Rugares come with.
Visual contemporary art. So that's an interesting title because it explains itself, but then people don't really understand because the English is very, for lack of a better word, I'd say very contemporary. Right. So what is contemporary? Contemporary means the new. It's like the new of the new. Okay. So when someone is a visual contemporary artist, it means that they capture the newness of the age that we live in. They capture the spirit of the moment, what it means to be in 2025, what it means to be born in the 21st century, what it means to be in this generation with these cell phones, with this TikTok generation, what it means to be us. So being a contemporary artist is being someone who visually communicates that and help people understand how I perceive my experience within this era and period.
You're exhibiting here at Naga Gallery, and the theme of the exhibit is African wedding. I'm going to assume that this was your take on it. Can you, I know that art, it's up to me, right, to interpret it, but as the artist yourself, what story were you trying to tell?
So the name of the artwork is A Royal African Dialect, ARAD. So A Royal African Dialect speaks about how I made this particular piece when I had just come from South Africa. So staying in South Africa was like a huge eye-opener because of the cohesion and friction that happens with tribalism in South Africa. So I found it to be something very interesting and something that I would also want to put in a piece. So with this particular piece, my approach was to communicate the essence of our vocabulary in vernacular languages, how in South Africa people speak like, I don't know how many languages. There are people from Ghana, there are people from Nigeria, there are people from there in South Africa, and in South Africa there are like more than 9 languages. So is this cocoon of very, very different ethnics. And these ethnic groups, some have clicking sounds, some don't, some have. So with all these different peoples meeting in this one place, how are we able to come to a form of understanding? It means that there has to be a language that's higher than our vernacular languages. So that dialect is what I was talking about. I realized there seems to be a sort of an African dialect, something that makes us us, that even if I'm with someone from Burundi, when we speak, I don't know what language you're speaking, but I know what you're trying to, I get you, you just connect, like you just like, I know what you're trying to say. Because I would have many of these moments where I'm in a taxi in South Africa and the driver or the people in the taxi don't want to speak in English, or maybe they can't, I couldn't tell. But when moments like that, I would look at the person and sort of discern what is it that they're trying to communicate, and then I would follow along with that. So it then helped me understand that there's a language beyond the vernacular language that you grew up speaking, and that language is art.
Right. I like to call it the Africanicity of Africans. It's ingrained within us. Right, you spoke about different voices, and I know your voice is very different because you've got a special way that you make your art. I mean, we're in the age of climate change and all of that, and you are literally a climate change voice in your art. Let's talk about that.
Firstly, I'm part of a great group called Voices for the Planet, because I would want to be a voice for the planet for the rest of my life, and I want my work to speak and communicate that. And my special way of approaching art. So I think one of the things that influenced me, like I said, there were thousands of dominoes that fell for me to then get to this position. But one of them was the publishing of a documentary or film by a guy called Jean-Michel Basquiat. Jean-Michel Basquiat is sort of the icon of what an African person can be in art, because this guy was like from Haiti and he was black and he was in New York, and it was in the 1980s, people were racist and all these things, but he beat all those odds and this guy made it in the art world. So when I saw that film, that documentary in his life, I became so inspired. So I started learning about his skill, his technique. How did this guy have such, how was he doing this? How is he painting like that? How did he do that? So I watched these videos, how he paints, and I actually didn't know what it was called up until about a year or two ago. I was just painting like that. I didn't know what it was. But it's something that they call paint collage, which is basically layering paints on top of each other. So you could be layering fabric, you could be layering paint, you could be layering plastic, you could be layering clay, you could be layering metal, you could be layering literally anything. So the whole process of mixing anything and everything is called mixed media, because I'm just mixing up different things. Sometimes I could stick to one medium, which is maybe I'm saying, okay, today this is just painting, like we're just gonna paint. No plastic, no paper, nothing. Yeah, I have moments like that. But I like mixed media because I'm not limited to an element. I'm sort of producing the connectivity of things, and also showing that it's part and parcel of the ethos of what we stand for with Voices of the Planet, that your small action today has ripple effects. So there's a connection between what you do and sort of the next person. That's sort of what happens with the whole climate justice thing and everything, is that when people litter, it affects the other person. So that's the same thing I want to show in the work. So I like to create work that shows connectivity. It shows that it's not just about a single element, but elements interconnect. There's an interconnectedness in life. So yeah.
That is a very inspiring interview with ONeal. Thank you so much for your time, ONeal.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me. Please, if you would like to learn more about art, feel free to reach out. Should I tell them? You could reach out to me on Instagram. My handle is Tanaka Wangmari. It's one word. You could reach out and check out my Behance portfolio, which is www.behance.net/Tanaka Wangmari. Thank you so much for having me.
You've been a delight. That was ONeal, and I know he broke it down for you. If you've ever had any mind with, but I like working with so many materials. What do they call this? Am I weird? Am I odd? Like what? Now you know the answer to that. Stay tuned. I've got a double header in the final segment. Don't touch that dial. Thanks. on the African continent. The show presents creatives in their home nations visiting renowned designers, musicians, architects who are leaving their mark on the young continent. Join me, your host, Rugare Mdupani, as we take a round trip across Africa and get to be inspired, motivated, and future-oriented. iAfrica, celebrating the African story. iAfrica searches for inspiration and innovation in all areas of popular culture, from fashion and design through to architecture, art, food, and travel. The focus is on outstanding individuals doing extraordinary things on the African continent. Welcome to the third and final segment of iAfrica. Let me tell you something. In my wildest dreams, I never dreamt that I would be part of an art piece. Today, I am smack dab in the middle of an art piece, but that's the beauty of iAfrica. In this final segment, I am joined by the duo Nkosiabo Frank and Kimberly Tatenda Gakanche. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Because I love the hair. I'm loving the artistry because it's already showing. It's giving. I'm an artist. You are part of the exhibition here at Naka Gallery, and the theme is African Wedding. You two decided to collaborate. Why? Let's start there. Why would you choose to collaborate?
I think it starts like from sharing the same studio. We work together in the same room that we call a studio, and that is in Mbare at Mbare Art Space. So as we work during the process, we kind of discuss or even discover some things, or even discuss when we are working, or even giving each other constructive criticism. So it happens that when you are working and then we have maybe an open call for an exhibition, and then on this show also it happens that we are also invited with the open call. So we had to work on it, and also we had to submit something that was going to maybe challenge also the space that we were given to put the installation in. So we started working on the idea when we even back in the studio, discovering more adventures in even how we're gonna install the installation. So we just challenged the part of maybe saying the African wedding, and it was also on Africa Day. That was the most interesting part about it. So I think we just vibe with the decoration of maybe what we call a wedding, and also what we call ku kamchira murora in Shona. So that was the whole vibe, and also the title was also called Shikai, we are welcome to the piece or the installation. I think Kimberly can add some of the things.
I would like for you to break down the pieces for us, because right now we've got the clay pots, we've got the fabric, we've got the artwork itself. Can you break that down for us?
Okay, so approaching the theme, we brought to the different diversity, which is with Nkosi, he talks more about tradition, and that's why we had to involve more clay pots. Basically, Shikai, it's a process that's done. Paritwa murora, unopiwa hari, unoputwa. And with that, also diverting with collaboration with my part, I brought up this beautification, this, Zirora squad.
Yeah.
So with this background of this artwork, this is me bringing that beautification of African wedding, but also with the bright colors that's futuristic and, yeah. And
Nkosi, what's the importance of art studios? Because, someone might be asking, okay, Vargo art studio, they collaborated and. Let's talk about the importance of them, especially for you as an artist.
Okay, I think a place called the studio for an artist is a place where where like all the magic happens and where most of the experiments, most of the learning, most of the growth, like kukura kwese kuri mu studio. So I think personally, from just being Nkosiabo Frank, I think my studio or the space I work from starts from what surrounds the space. Like the place I call the studio it's like what's around the studio and what I learn with what's around the studio. So I can say it's Mbare Art Space, and I'm currently one of the artists, and with Kimberly, we are on a residency at Mbare Art Space as like visual artists. So there's much growth from you working within one person in the same room, and then when you go out, there's someone in the next studio, there's someone in the next studio, there are even like mentors. And so it's a place where you can observe a lot of things rather than maybe trying to grow from when you are at home, and kumba kune challenges echo, you want to do this, you want to do this, and then you end up like giving up on the actual dream. So I think we were like lucky when we like finished high school, because I think back then, before like there was Mbare Art Space, they used to work at a community center called Chinembiri, which is like next door to Mbare High. So I was one of the students at Mbare High by that time. So it happens that when I was like sitting at the gate, like I was a prefect at school. Yeah. So I was doing my duty at the gate, and at the same time I was drawing. And then the guard was like, "Do you know Pasira Ponetwa art like the next door?" And then I'm like, so he linked me up with one of the guys Akazongo Furo, like the following day, and at the same thing, Dakatogara, like doing my duties at school. So it happened that he invited us in, and then we went in. And I still remember, there was Troy Makaza, there was Julio Rigi, and there was Takunda Billiard. Yeah, those were like some of the biggest artists that we can talk about here in Zimbabwe right now, who are like doing it to the greater extent. So I think from that day, like joining that space that they call the studio, and that was also new to me, like the way I'm explaining to everyone. So like I started learning, and also I was challenged with certain things, like I needed to do this and this to achieve this and this. That was maybe in drawing, in painting, in whatever I was doing. So that was like a journey, and also that's like the place I can call a studio, because there is much growth, there is focus. Even you don't have like focus at first, you're forced to focus, because at the end of the day we need to see like who are you and what are you creating, and when we say it's you, what are you making us see, like a painting on the wall or the installation that we are sitting in. So it's a phase, it's a movement, and it's a place where there is focus, there is growth, and you actually know who you are. You can grow from there, and you expand your dream. Yeah.
And your final question before I let you guys go, it's a double header. What are some of the challenges you've faced as an artist, and where do you see yourself in the art sphere, the Zimbabwean art sphere, in the next 5 years?
Okay, challenges can be maybe economically at times. You're an artist, you need to survive, you need materials for your workers, you need to keep growing. So I think that's the main challenge as an emerging artist that you can face, but the more you work, the more you get recognized, the more you can get opportunities. So in the next 5 years, if I'm like the way I'm working right now, I need to work extra 10 times so that I can achieve the best. And as I said, art is the profession. I do not have any other profession, so I'm in trouble. I have to work extra 10 times from what I have right now. Yeah.
Thank you. And for you, Nkosi?
I think with me is something that is much more challenging, because like having to focus on painting, having to focus on fashion. Also, I'm a fashion designer.
Yes, trust the process. Yes, and those are the wise words from two emerging artists. That's Nkosiabo Frank and Kimberly Kakache. Thank you for tuning in. This has been iAfrica, another exciting episode with yours truly, Rugari Mtokwani. I'll see you next week. As you heard for yourself, the future of Zimbabwean culture and art is in good hands, because all the artists you saw today are young, they're vibrant, they're emerging artists, and they're going to make sure that our culture, our heritage is told in every story, whether it is through fashion and jewelry, through art itself. This is iAfrica, and this is what we do. I'll see you next week. Bye for now. iAfrica searches for inspiration and innovation in all areas of popular culture, from fashion and design through to architecture, art, food, and travel. The focus is on outstanding individuals doing extraordinary things on the African continent. The show presents creatives in their home nations, visiting renowned designers, musicians, architects who are leaving their mark on the young continent. Join me, your host, Rugarem Duhani, as we take a round trip across Africa and get to be inspired, motivated, and future-oriented. iAfrica, celebrating the African story.